Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is an update from Ukraine and we will see what's going on in the front lines over there. This video will use a Ukrainian media outlet. It's Ukrinform. It's from today, the 23rd of January 2023. So remember, this article comes from a Ukrainian side, so put your filters for Ukrinform from being propagandized by the Ukrainians. Now, if I would read an article from the Russian side, you put your Russian filters on. Okay, so let's get going with this one. So this comes from Ukrinform, and we're gonna go down here where they start the update. And the update is, in Volyn and Polisia directions, the situation has not changed. No signs of the formation of enemy offensive groups have been detected. In Siversky and Slobozansky directions, the enemy continues to hold its troops in the border areas of Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod regions. The settlements of Vintorivka and Mokhritsia in Sumy region, Strilecha, Zelene, Starycia, Ohietseve, Varvarivka, Chernyakiv, I'm going to break my mouth here, so in Kharkiv regions came under mortar and artillery fire. In Kupiansk and Liman direction, the occupiers shelled the area of Zapadnie, Kislivka, Tabaivka, and about three more settlements in Kharkiv region. Terny being another settlement in Donetsk region, Stelmakivka, Novoyehorivka, Makivka, Ploshanka, Nevske, Tibrova in Luhansk region. Interesting that in Liman, I know that the Russians are conducting offensive operations, but I didn't see anything here about any offensive operation being conducted there. Now in Bakhmut and Avdiivka directions, which is the next area, the next axis, I know again that the Russians are conducting offensive operations. So let's see what the Ukrainians tell us about that. So in Bakhmut and Avdiivka directions, the enemy fired on the positions of Ukrainian troops in the area of more than 20 settlements, particularly, and they give us a long Verkhnikomayanske, Spirnie, Vesele, Berstove, and about 5 more or 7 more, I would say, settlements, including Bakhmut, Bakhmutske, Marinka, Bilahora. These were easy for me to read, and Avdiivka in Donetsk region. Now in Novopavlivka direction, that again used to be about a month ago a hot offensive coming from the Russian side. Let's see what these guys are telling us about that. So in Novopavlivka direction, the enemy tried to attack Ukrainian positions with tanks. That's offensive. And I would say the artillery near Velika Novoslika, Vuhledar, Preshchivska, Netskuchne in Donetsk region. Probably if a Ukrainian listens to me would not recognize the names of the settlements, but hey, I'm giving my best here. So again, whenever you see tanks, usually tanks are offensive positions. Otherwise, would be just cannons and static howitzers and other things. Now in Zaporozhye region, which is again a how should I put it, current area where the Russians are attempting to conduct an offensive operation. Let's see what these guys are saying about it. In Zaporozhye region, the Russian invaders shelled more than 20 settlements, in particular Zelene, Pole, Novostilka, Vremivka in Donetsk region, and Novoadrivka or Kiev, Huliai-Pol or Pole, Dorznid, I can't read that one, and Zaporozhye region. Very interesting. I didn't hear anything yet, I didn't read anything yet about, Ukrainians blowing up anything, on the other side. It's all the Russians, shelling this and attacking that, but nothing what the Ukrainians are doing. I think it's always at the end of the article. In Kherson direction, the enemy shelled Kherson city and its suburbs and other settlements on the banks of the Dnieper River. In the temporary occupied territory of Luhansk region, the Russian occupiers have been conducting searches in educational institutions over the past 2 weeks. The goal is to identify and destroy books. Oh, like the Nazis. That's the image you have to have in mind when they do this, in the Ukrainian language and materials containing symbols of Ukraine. Not the other way around. It's just these guys. In order to replenish the insufficient personnel of enemy units operating in Severodonetsk direction, measures of forced mobilization were intensified in the temporarily occupied territory of Luhansk region in the town of Krasny Luch. The number of patrols was increased to check men's documents, hand out summonses, and take them to the mobilized collection point. Over the past 24 hours, the missile and artillery units of the Defense Forces of Ukraine hit 3 enemy command posts and 3 personnel, weapons and military equipment clusters. That's all they report doing as of now. I don't see anything else, so I'm assuming not much from the Ukrainian side. And according to the Ukrainians, all that happens over there is shelling from the Russian side into the Ukrainian side. The little achievements reported over there by Ukrinform are just really mild attempts of destroying the Russians. But I do not expect the Ukrainians to really tell us what they did and what achievement they had, except just general information. I don't give details, that's for sure. I made a video before this one with Ukrainians being able to blow up a Russian boat with saboteurs and reconnaissance units that were trying to, according to the report, cross the Dnieper River from one side to one of their islands, the islands of the Dnieper River. It's one of the Potemkin Islands. And according to the Ukrainians, that was blown up. And the other article that I covered earlier, again, the Ukrainians were repelling Russian attacks in Liman, Zaporozhye, and Bakhmut areas, and Avdiivka. Nothing about the Ukrainians doing any offensive operations, but the Americans advised the Ukrainians to not do anything until not to conduct offensive or to hold on to Bakhmut even until they receive military reinforcements. And I'm talking about weapons, click. So the Ukrainians, I don't know if they're capable of doing anything or pushing the Russians back, or just the situation is so disastrous over there that all they can do is just to inflict as much damage, which I don't see, to the on the Russian side. So this is it, short, very general, but this is what the Ukrainians provide. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.